Go ahead and say something for me.
Hello.
How y'all feel? Y'all ready?
Let's do it.
You're exhausted. So here's the one thing. There's the caveat. I'm using my camera. So you see this camera? So normally I'll be able to look up things, but I'm using it today.
Yeah, I got you.
All right.
Recording the cameras.
Yeah, the cameras are recording. I usually start them off a little bit earlier, so that way I don't miss it. Your call, bro.
Drum something up. Hello and welcome to the second episode of Brothers in Film. My name is Gordon Zacks, and I'm here with
Parnell Robertson. How's it going?
You got Nate on the line today.
Nate
Front of the camera.
No, he's doing everything. He's running cameras, sound. He's having a grand old time back there. We're a little short-handed today because people. That's
No
the best
names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope you all are having a good week.
Absolutely. I bet everybody's having a good week. You know, sometimes it's unfortunate that we don't have everyone that we want, but. Hey.
Okay, no. Now the party's started. Okay, let's go.
I didn't even know this.
Oh, look at that. Oh, let's go. Okay, now I can get in the flow state.
Wonder how long that runs.
It was like it was gonna run forever. Oh my goodness. No, it was kind of cool, you know, today. We didn't necessarily have a bad day. It wasn't a terrible traffic drive here today. It was an hour versus an hour and a half like it was last time.
Take what you get.
Yeah, Los Angeles an hour to go like 5 miles is like,
Yeah, literally.
that's okay. You know, like you're doing okay with that.
Right?
Love that about this city. Yes.
It is ridiculous. 5 minutes back at home is like, I can get there in 10 minutes. 5 minutes, really.
You can get
I'm from San Diego,
Yeah.
and it is nothing like this. Traffic,
I swear to God.
20 miles takes 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be.
So I went to Sammy's camera, and it's only 2 miles away, and the GPS said 14 minutes. I felt like I was getting the deal. I was like, what?
Oh,
Yeah.
14 minutes only?
I know. It's, like when you see that little the numbers are green.
Yeah.
On Google Maps, they're like,
Yeah.
let's go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is crazy.
It's
One of the
good.
biggest adjustments I had to get used to is definitely the traffic out here.
It's not a game.
It's not. It's
Excellent.
not. Literally, the only time I've drove the freeways or the highways like clear is at night or very, very early in the morning. Very, very
Right.
late.
You know when it was good? During COVID.
It was the best. It was
I can
fantastic.
imagine.
I missed that.
COVID, look, we got a blessing.
It's
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, traffic was so polite during COVID.
Oh yeah, no. It was almost worth. I'm not gonna go.
Yeah.
But it was very nice. That one little aspect. Thank you. I'll be here till Thursday. Thank you.
Absolutely. It was very easy to go into work, very easy to go out.
Yeah, it was.
That was
was
before
good.
my time here.
Yeah. When did you get
I
there?
did
missed out.
visit. I visited Cali a couple times during COVID though, because you
Yeah.
know plane tickets were very cheap.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And yeah, I flew out here a couple times. Saw my guy Elliot. Shout out Elliot James.
Okay.
Let's go.
Got us a very special episode.
Bro, look, this is my first time ever looking at one of these things.
Already
I
beat
like
the
it.
sound from last week. Yeah, no.
Gives me an amp every time.
Sound effects. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that's dope.
Okay. So today we were supposed to be on. We had a topic for today, right?
Got a few.
Yeah.
Yes. Talk to me.
One was, I believe, what was most difficult
Yes.
thing we've had to overcome on set? It was just happened kind of spontaneously. Was that?
Yeah, so now it's coming back to me. So basically, it was behind the scenes. What does it take as a director, a filmmaker, producer? What does it take for us to actually be able to make a film? And it talked a lot about like the DP, like the role of a DP as well. So when Gordon said, I don't know if I have anything to say about this, I was like, Gordon, you're literally in the thick of it. You're literally in, you can speak to it better than anyone else.
Oh, that's.
Are you
Stop
not?
it.
You just had auditions on Monday.
I
For
did.
what?
I
For
did.
what? A commercial? No, an actual show.
Oh, did you? Congratulations.
Yeah, I did.
Congratulations.
So, my script got selected in the class that we're in to.
You gotta speak up for me.
Yeah, no, it was kind of cutting in and out.
There you go.
Okay.
Can I get it a horn just to. Bruh. Okay, that works. Bruh. Yeah, okay, bruh. Okay. that's the man horn. Okay. Is that the sound of me bombing right now? That's great. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
We're just having fun here.
We really are.
So, the class that we're in, my script got selected. I'm going to direct it. I was casting this last week, and I kind of basically had to take on the whole thing by myself over the weekend, as far as like putting the breakdown online, looking at actors that submitted their films and everything, and selecting them, calling them in for casting, because nobody in the class responded to my emails asking for help.
What's the name of this film?
The name of the film was called The Diner. And I'm still reshaping the script a little bit, but why am I cutting it in like this?
Okay.
Like I'm not moving.
I think it's trying to pick up your sound.
Okay. Anyways, so it's called The Diner. Monday.
You were like right on the mics. You can just pull it closer to you.
Like this.
Yeah.
Let's get real. You know, whisper sweet
We're
nothings into
intimate.
this. So we did casting all day on Monday, and I have to say I am really pleasantly surprised with that one. As far as like, maybe I'm actually decent at spotting people for acting roles or whatever, but like there was nobody that came in that was like, oh, I'm wasting my time watching this. And then I'm still doing some over Zoom this week, and I am as self-deprecating as it gets, but I have a very good feeling about this one. I like the story. I like the script. I'm molding it more. It's kind of tying itself together more day by day. The options that I got, I'm set on one person for one. There's only 3 roles in it, but yeah, I think it's. I'm excited.
So like, what's the budget?
$300
Nice.
supposedly, but we'll see.
So all these people coming in for.
It's just for casting credit, like kind of things.
Yeah.
But I got a lot of responses, but people that like the story, and when I sent out the script, a lot of people like the script, and they like I'm getting a lot of compliments from the actors themselves, and like for something that's not going to pay them, and like the actual quality that I'm kind of getting, it's feels good. I don't know how else to put it. Yeah, it's nice.
I think
That's
that's
dope.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Have you ever done like a casting? Have you ever done an audition?
I haven't yet. I've kind of just, for the stuff that I've made, kind of sought out, I didn't really have auditions. I asked whoever I thought would fill the role, and I've been very lucky for those people to be interested. I'm never, I would love to have auditions, because I'm actually working on a few scripts right now, because want to stay active, want to stay busy. So I'm working on a few things right now. I got a friend from school. He's helping me put it together. But I would definitely love to branch out more and really start, having that experience and giving those experiences to other people, really treating it legit, going about it the most legit way and, the business way, how it's done in the industry. It just helps you with the whole creative process and how it's done, instead of having the privileges of having a friend I can just hit up, hey, star in my movie, But like you said though, it is also going to come down like, can I find someone who's willing to like, hey, I don't know where this is going to end up later, but we can create something special, small budget,
Right.
Are you down? Let's do it. As opposed, even though we're on a professional set, we're not, getting paid professionally, but I always feed my cast and crew. I feed them well, them very well. One of my first projects I did, man, I like so much fucking food. And I let them take it all home too. Like, yeah, so, but I would definitely love in the future, like to start really like, cause we're in LA, man, everyone wants to be a fucking actor.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's a writer. Or
I was at a
actor.
bar one time. I actually met this girl and like we networked through that because she was, she's like, yeah, I act when I'm not working here. I try to act and I try to do. You'd be surprised, you see people working during their day jobs and they have the same dream as you,
I like that.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm thinking about like I'm putting the pieces together. We talk about auditions and we talk about people who are out here who are acting and want to like really put themselves out there. I see it's breaking for me as well.
Yeah.
I hear it. I'm not sure what the problem is there. Maybe we'll figure it out.
Or we hit the horns too heavy, I think.
Technical difficulty. That's perfect.
Do you know which button
Yeah.
makes it, or are you just going as it is?
So this is the last one.
Okay.
Money.
So now I know it.
Okay.
So now I kind of memorized them a little bit. So like this is gonna be the hand clap, right?
Okay.
And this is gonna be the womp.
Yeah. But that, you hadn't done that one before, I thought, because that one worked. It was synchronicity.
I know.
That was,
Look,
yeah.
you know
that worked
what?
out
It
well.
was just
great.
written in the stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope though. I'm glad we got the sound effects.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I'm gonna have to really play with those.
Yeah.
But what if we put out this position, like podcasting, as like I told you, I want to do it weekly.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that like our voices are heard. I want to make sure that like we're telling our story, not after we made it big, but during the journey. The journey is one of the best parts. Like why reach for a goal if you hating every step of the way,
Right.
right?
I agree with that.
So I definitely feel like there's so much value, there's so much richness that can be shared.
I agree. I'm here because like filmmaking is like my love, man. Like seriously, I call it my first love, as crazy or weird as it sounds. Like film is my first love. It's the very first thing I ever remember falling in love with, wanting to do. And this journey that I'm on, like, it's very special. It's very special. And like just being here, I moved to LA in July. Already I've had like memories, I've had experiences that I would have killed for it back at home.
Right.
I would have killed for it. So now that I'm here, I don't want to waste 1 second. And whatever I can do to inspire or keep that other filmmaker to just, keep going, man, keep going. Like, I want to be part of that, I really want to be part of something special. And I know like this journey is special. The stories we want to tell are special, and I really covet like this especially this stage before success and the red carpets.
Bro, it's so close. It's so close.
I really cherish just being a dude. Like, I just love movies, man. I could sit and talk about it for hours. I want to still just be that dude after, like just a dude who just loves movies and can talk about them and talk about the experiences, talk about the process. If I didn't want to create them, I'd probably just be like a critic or something anyway. I'd still be in this position talking about it. So
Right.
yeah, so it's a lot to learn, and we're talking about it as we learn in a way,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, I don't have the answers. I don't have the blueprint. This is just my experience. And, you know, I really want that to come across too, is like, we're bringing people on this journey with us, you know?
Like that.
Yeah.
Help me! Help me! Nigga!
Thank you
I
for
didn't know
that.
that. I'm glad that was on one of us.
I
Yeah,
love it, though.
I'm surprised.
I love it. Well, I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help all the filmmakers out there.
I love it.
I had something and I just lost my train of thought. It threw me off. I mean, building off that though, it is. So this is what is. I can remember like as far back when I was like, it's like it's really about like the love of just telling stories or being a part of a story, because everybody wants to be.
Know the water.
Oh.
Know the water.
Oh.
It was like yours, like right there, looked like the water.
Yeah.
Was the main character.
All right, cool.
Well, it is. What is it? Zoolander, I think.
Almost gave just shameless product placement right there. I had to stop myself.
But I can remember when I was like 3. You know, it was just I can only speak from my own experience, but I doubt I am anything but unique in this and that.
Yeah.
When your imagination runs wild as a kid and you're dreaming up stories and adventures in your head and all this stuff, and like maybe some people are better at crafting them than others, but there's a love to. Everyone's got a story to tell, and some people might, maybe some, I don't want to say more important than others, but maybe some people have stories that can gravitate towards more people than others, right? Or at least be able to explain a more universal idea or whatnot. And as far back as humans have existed, we learn through stories.
Yeah.
It's through art, and eventually we're able to write stuff down. But before that, it was all word of mouth. It was just telling stories. I mean, that was how people taught lessons. It was Aesop's fables, all that stuff.
Right.
So there's every form of art in its own way is telling a story, right? And like
I agree.
Movies is kind of the most direct way to do it.
Yeah.
Right? And you can do the most with it. And like I love music, don't get me wrong, but as far as putting a vision and like precisely telling the story as you want to be clearly as possible, crafting a good movie is
I agree.
There's nothing that beats that.
I agree.
It's the equivalent of 10,000 years ago, a bunch of Neanderthals sitting around a fire and explaining like how the universe came to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now we have Fast and the Furious 10. And that's
Love it.
right? How far we've come. So it's.
I would love if one of the classic, like one of the silent filmmakers, to just see how far we've come.
Exactly. Yeah, like 2,000 years from now, it's like with like there's a story of like Ulysses and all these like great Greek tales, and like 2,000 years, it's like back like in the tale of Vin Diesel.
Yeah. The saga.
Yeah, and how he drove that car for 10 straight movies. They were family.
Can you imagine being in film school and like that's what the students are learning?
Yeah.
About the action flicks. Oh, the next chapter, Marvel.
Well,
Exactly. Because there were so many of them, that means that they were the best.
I'm not gonna lie. To get a little bit serious, I have met like classmates or just people at the school, and like, I'm not dogging or talking about anybody. I just find it a little strange. But I've asked a few people like, hey, like, what's your passion project? What are you working on? If you had a story, somebody came to you right now, like, what's the story? And it's kind of weird to me, like, how many people have like already established franchises or IPs that in their head, like, I'm working, like, I hate to call it out, but I met some dude who said he was working on like a script, and it's already a very successful franchise. And I'm like, at film school, that should be the last thing
Wait, so he's writing a script
Yeah.
for like it's not like it's like, you know,
Yeah, it's not original. Like,
he's writing it for the franchise itself, and he's just gonna.
yeah, it's not for it, but it's like he's taking the characters and he's making his own story, and like I want to tell, I want to tell like what franchise it is. I don't want him to watch this and be like, he's talking
like
about me.
using stuff that's
Yeah,
already
like
out
if
there.
let's just say, for example, like he didn't say Iron Man, but I'm gonna use Iron Man. Like let's say, oh yeah, I'm working on an Iron Man script, and it's just like when you're at film school, that's the last thing you need to be working on. You need to be working on a real story that can establish you. You know, before you're not gonna get handed those keys. You're not about to get handed those keys fresh out of film school or even in film school. You got to know you got to prove you can tell a story.
This guy wrote the 4th best Iron Man.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, I really encourage, especially young filmmakers, like, I know it's this fear of originality in Hollywood and shit like that, but man, when you're starting out, you have to like know how to tell a story and tell like something that's at least fresh from your experience, you know. Like, I wouldn't suggest, you know, and I love Marvel movies, I love DC movies, I love big franchises, you know, I love all types of movies, but, you know, really learn how to craft a story, really learn how to craft, you know, something that means something to you before you try to move on to something like that, you know, because it's just a waste of time for right now. It's just a waste of, it's just
You're never
like,
gonna learn anything if you don't push yourself.
You're
know?
not.
It's like I'm not to go back to it. Like this project I'm working on now, I had no intention of directing or submitting my thing, right? And like I thought it was gonna be a pain in the ass and everything. And what happened is I watched the example films, like for the assignment, and like what they could make. And I'm gonna sound like a jackass saying this, but I was like, oh, I can do better than that. That was straight up.
I love it.
Straight up.
I love it.
I can do better than that.
I love that.
And like, and it took me 2 hours to write this script.
Yeah.
Maybe 3, right? Because I had these characters in my mind already for a different thing. I kind of roll with it, and like, I got, you know, it's a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety, but I'm happy as hell I did it, dude.
Yeah.
Because like there's a sense of momentum, there's a sense of growing out of that shit. That like, if I just like sat on my ass and like, oh, I'll just do the lights and you know, I hate doing lights and I'll be a part of it. You know, it's
tell
like
a story.
It's you just what am I getting out of that?
Yeah.
You know. So
I agree with that. I've had a bunch of stories that just sit in my head, and like before I ever put them to paper, it's like I'm literally just building worlds inside my head, you know. And it's like before you start a script, you know, it's always like, because I've started projects where I'm like, I don't know where this is beginning, ending, where it's going. But so it's such a different experience when you really sat on something, you really tried to figure these characters and these stories out. And then when you really like, when you go to sit down, like, you're like, oh shit, I know exactly, even if it's not perfect, even if the first draft is not perfect, you still like, I know where the next scene is going. At least I know where, at least I know what's happening in my script. And like you said, like once you get it down, like that's the hardest part, is actually finishing the script. It's actually finishing it. Once you finish it, man, then you have all the time to perfect it, fill it in, take it apart, whatever. But just finish it.
Yeah, I'm still workshopping this.
Exactly.
Script. I had an ending, and the gist of the story is still staying. But I mean, like 3 hours before, I was zooming with someone that I'm set on casting, right? And I realized that like the character that she's gonna play is like, why it was more of like a bit part, right? And it would make it much more interesting. And just adding a couple lines for her, and I changed the ending a little bit where it's the same ending, but there's more symbolism.
Yeah,
you're
that's the fun part.
It was fun, and I was like, dude. I was like impressed. I was like,
it's
dude,
fun.
This is fucking good.
That's the
I was
fun.
like, this is
Because first drafts are always like, for me at least, first drafts are always like, this is the most bare bones, like straightforward version of this. There's no theme. There's no like, you know, I'm just saying what the characters think. I'm saying what they want to do, you know, doing anything to push it and finish it. But when you really start like, oh, I don't need to say it like this. I could like have them just say this, and it still symbolizes everything. And that becomes so much more fun. And then you create situations, you figure out like, you know, how to you figure out how to tell a story effectively. Because anybody can tell a story, but once you figure out how that story, that specific story needs to be told to come across and to hit people, that's a whole different thing entirely. Because I had a script where, man, I thought it was good, and like I'm glad I let somebody else read it because they liked it, but they were also like, I'm a little confused, and I'm like, what the fuck are you confused over? But now, like, taking that constructive criticism, I took that and I'm like, okay, now I know how to tell this story so no one's confused. I still, like you said, it's still the same story, but now I know how to tell it.
That's right. It's like building on it. Like I like the story and the gist of it. I was like, oh, it's nice, but it's like, oh, this is gonna add a little bit of heart, a little emotion right there, and this is gonna be a slick little thing right there if I do this like that, and it's like, you know, give it a little oomph and like, it's like, oh, now this thing can fuck, you know, it's like it's like you're building on it, and it
feels
good.
It does.
Like,
it is. You get like the
it's a flow state. Kind of thing,
You get the brains just zapping. You're like, oh man,
like I think now even in my poetry, I constantly think of the narrative arc that I'm trying to tell. Like I'm always, did I explain the setting well enough so that someone can jump into this poem and understand where they are in this poem? Am I setting up the events 1, 2, 3, or do I have enough events that could have 3? And if it's not enough events but enough turns, like I'm making sure that there's at least some type of switch that happens 3 times. I'm ensuring that I have that climax every time. Again, it's storytelling, so my poetry has to reflect that ability, as you said, to tell a story. Why else am I writing the poem? So I'm sitting there, I have the events, I have that climax, and I'm making sure that I end it with some type of resolution of some type. Again, and those are my best poems because they really tell the story well, and it has my voice injected all in through it, right? And I feel more complete. I feel as if there was a place that we went to, not just a feel. It's cool to have a vibe. I think that's great, and I think those are awesome. But I think that the more I write, the more I want to actually tell a story. I want to give you the setting. I want you to feel what I'm feeling in that moment. And the more I can use the technical pieces that we have of being able to tell a story, the more effective I am with the outcome.
It's like the fundamentals, you know?
Yes,
it's
Please
like
harness these fundamentals.
It's like it really is fundamentals, and it was something that opened my eyes, like, because you think like, oh, these people, they just tell a story beginning, middle, and end. But it's like, no, like you have to have a certain momentum, you have to have certain pace, you have to have certain things happen in between your middle, or your beginning, middle, and end. Like there are so many little things, and it's just like when you crack those fundamentals, when you really crack like the skeleton of a story, and like most stories have the exact same skeleton, and there are different skeletons, but most times the skeletons are the exact same. Once you learn that, once you crack that,
same organs,
exactly,
and all that shit.
you can once you crack that and learn that and perfect and master that, then you can do anything. You can do anything, go anywhere with your story. Now that's how I understand, like, how is there one structure, how is there one this, and then like you crack it, and then you watch every other movie or poem or music, and you listen and you see, and you're like, holy shit, like there really is though, you know? It's like a science. I said it last week, but it's like a science to it.
You know, and when you go and have those conversations with people who are hiring you or you are trying to become employed, like it's so important to be able to have those conversations where you use those key words and those key phrases. Like I just talked about the narrative arc, and I just went through that. It tells you that I at least understand the basic elements. Then we're talking about how do we construct the story, meaning that do we have a theme? What's the mood? What's the tone? And you're talking to people that you're working with. Like you want me to work with you for a music video. I need to understand that. Or let's say you want to do a story, you want to do a documentary. I'm saying, so what is the message that we're supposed to walk away with? I've had multiple disagreements.
You should be able to answer that so much more simple.
You have to.
It should be so simple to answer that when you're working on something.
I'm telling you. So my disagreements that I had came because I wasn't as familiar with the art. I knew how to camcord, I guess, to a certain degree. I knew how to capture a story, but I didn't fully have the language to speak to the story. So when we will sit there and talk about what direction we're going in, there will always be a button of heads. But now that I understand the language, I'm clear. You cannot give me a long answer for a simple question. I cut you off and say, that's great. However, what's the message?
Exactly.
If you get on your second
One or two
sentence,
sentences.
I'm cutting
Exactly.
you off. I'm
Like,
cutting
come
you
on.
off. If you don't know the message, no one else will.
Exactly.
If you don't know the
Exactly.
theme, no one else will. So you don't have a clear theme, and then you wonder why people don't enjoy it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like I said, it's something I'm still working on. Like as a writer, it's still something I'm trying to crack. But like I catch myself if I don't know what's going on. If I'm the writer and I can't even explain what my character goal is, what's the story,
What do
what's
they
the
want?
theme, exactly what do they want?
What's the one?
What do they want throughout the whole movie? What do they want in this
every
scene?
scene.
Exactly. What do they want in this scene? What do they want in the next? How does that? And what's stopping them?
Right.
That's the big. Yeah, that's one of the big. What's stopping them
Exactly.
from what's stopping my main character from getting that? Why? Why
what's
can't
all
he
the
have
stakes?
it? Exactly.
Yeah, I think the more and more that you put yourself in it, you share yourself.
Yeah.
It can sound cheesy, but you're vulnerable with your words. You're
Yeah.
vulnerable with the
Yeah.
story you're trying to tell.
Yeah.
You're willing to put a piece of yourself out there. The better it's gonna be.
I agree.
And the more people are gonna be able to relate to it.
Exactly.
It's because if you're just like. I can't do the Fast and Furious shit because I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
No, I know what you mean though.
but it's like I get it. You're fucking driving
yeah.
cars and shit blows up, and it's
Yeah.
like I don't want to watch that shit. And
got you.
it's so like I think I talked about this last. Maybe I did. I took my little cousin to see the Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's entertaining. It's fine. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes, and it was just fighting.
Yeah.
And like here's the thing, like John Wick is something in itself. John Wick was dope.
Yeah.
Right, and that's pretty
I
much
love
just,
John Wick.
but it knew exactly what it was and just fucking. Right?
Yeah.
But this movie, it was just a derivative fight scene after a derivative fight scene, and like my cousin's 11 years old. He's like, oh yeah.
Of course he's gonna love it.
Yeah,
And I loved that shit when I was younger.
Yeah.
But as I grew up, I'm not gonna
It
lie.
doesn't
As
have
I grew
sticking power.
yeah.
It's
Man, I
it's
used
so
to
forgettable.
love action movies. I used to love, and I still do. Don't get me wrong, but like action, like especially nowadays, like that's
The best
unless
action
it's like
movies,
John Wick.
They still they tap into something. John Wick
Exactly.
is just something that's
Exactly.
just very unique as far as
Exactly.
cinematography.
Exactly.
There's an art to that violence in
Yeah.
some weird way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah, I
different
I like drama. You know,
yeah.
I like drama.
I want heart. I want to feel something when I'm watching.
Give me
that
some
shit.
fucking like.
Even if it's some goofy comedy, dude. If
Yeah,
it fucking strikes
yeah.
a nerve, it makes me laugh. There's
Yeah.
something in there that I like.
Yeah, I don't like mindless
Absurd.
action.
Especially a
anymore.
good message that really makes you think.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
that was good.
Yeah, I don't care for the explosions. I don't care for the cape shit. It just doesn't grab me anymore.
Not
like
if
it
it's
used
gonna
to.
be empty.
And I think,
And
Not
Yeah.
if it's gonna be empty. Like,
And
give
a-
me something with that.
and a lot of these studios, it's like, I know listen, man, we grow up and like, you know, studios should always care about the next generation, but it's also like, and I'm gonna be a little bit hard on Marvel. I love you, Marvel. I grew up with you, but it's like, I can see that Marvel hasn't grown with this audience from 2008 because I don't love the Marvel movies as much as I did in 2008. And I can just see, like, when I go and watch a Marvel movie now, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm expecting. I know what I'm getting out of it. Hate it or love it, you know. But it's also, I can tell that this is a franchise that hasn't grown with me. You know, I'm still watching the same shit that happened from 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, it's like it's just gotten fatter.
Exactly.
It's just built on mass,
Yeah.
but it's not like
Yeah.
there's no it hasn't learned anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Can I ask
As
you
a
something
person,
about
Marvel
that?
hasn't grown. You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the thing that I would ask, I'm listening to you, and so there's also this part of like business that we have to think about as well. You have grown. You clearly are at a place where you care a lot about the storytelling because you now have the vocabulary, as I said earlier.
I do love
but
storytelling.
also you literally can tell a story and you know the difference. What if that audience hasn't grown as well? Could it be that it's a business move to stick with the audience who's going to go for it, and that's where they're at? So if they advance, they may lose their audience, you know?
That's sad to me.
Yeah.
Because
You
good
get
art
what
is
I'm
supposed to
saying?
fucking make
Evolve.
people think a little
Yeah.
bit. I'm not saying like, oh, we're shaping the future.
Yeah. I don't need that.
It sounds
Yeah.
ridiculous. But like, that's a sad state for society. It's like, oh, let's just put the same shit out there because that's what people liked 15 years ago.
Exactly.
And it's
Exactly.
like if I go and sit in 2 hours, I want to get something out of
Have
it.
you guys noticed? It's like, it's been a very, like, we had like the Spider-Man movie brought back people from like brought back Tobey Maguire, brought back Andrew Maguire.
Oh, it was a reunion.
The Flash movie that's about to come out has like Michael Keaton, who hasn't been Batman since the 80s or 90s, and it's like it's very nostalgia fueled right now. They're like they're banking off our child memories, you know, and like man, there's a whole generation that's not experiencing what I experienced because you're just reselling them the same fucking memory, you know. It's like now they're remaking every fucking Disney animation, and it's like they're just repackaging these things that we already have grown to love, and they're not really making new things for people to fall in love.
Last year alone, how many Pinocchios were there? How many Pinocchios just last year?
I really liked.
I'm saying how many were there?
I did.
One story.
Del Toro's his was it was like a dark reimagining, and that's why I liked it. It wasn't like
I liked it a lot.
It wasn't. Yeah, it was. It was amazing.
I mean, it was the same
different.
Basic story.
That's a good story. That's a reimagined. You know, like that's a movie that's like they made Pinocchio for a 2020 audience. You know, it's not the same. They're not just trying to resell it or repackage it. You know?
He highlighted different messages that
he
you
did.
could find
He
within the
did.
story.
He
Because
did.
I mean, like a good story, people are going to
away.
find different meanings out of it. You know? It's like.
I really did enjoy that one. I feel like that was one of the better anime, but I still do agree with you too.
The other one was
because
terrible. The one that Disney did, bombed.
Yeah.
And it was like Tom Hanks was like, Pinocchio, like nobody would believe.
Holy shit! I forgot Tom Hanks was in that. That's like,
That's
crazy.
Yeah.
So it's
that
like,
is crazy.
But yeah, it's.
But we talking about like reusing and retelling the story, but like that story has been told so many times, and it's released like year after year. But y'all like it though,
because
y'all
it's
like
proven.
it.
And even us, like I think audiences are. I think they're finally starting to move away from it a little bit, just a little bit. But for a while, I feel like only because when you really do kind of, I don't know what the underlying causes or factors was, but like the first Black Panther movie. Made $1 billion at the box office. Second Black Panther movie made 800. It didn't get a China release, but also I feel like after the death of Chadwick Boseman, it should have been like people. I felt like people would have like wanted to see it. As tragic as it sounds, his death would have made people. All right, how are they continuing this? What's going to happen now? I feel like, and plus you had $1 billion. Why wouldn't that same audience returns? It made less. And I just think audiences are like, I feel like they're me. They're like, you're just giving me the same shit, you know?
Did you like the second one?
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, I did. I liked it, but I also want more. I expect more from, because man.
That opening scene for me was like everything. Like I could have left the I got everything I needed out of like the opening scene.
I agree.
I was almost in tears.
Yeah.
No, I think I was in tears.
I didn't see that.
It was emotional.
Oh my gosh, how does the opening scene do that to you?
Yeah.
It was
I liked
so beautiful.
But I honestly, man, like I said, I grew up with Marvel. I skipped the Avengers in 2012 was my like Star Wars. I know that's so cliche, but like
that was a game changer.
Thank you.
The first Marvel movie, Avengers movie that
changed. If you was, I went to the theater. It is. It's one of the better. And as much as it sounds, man, or as fucked up as it sounds, because people aren't a fan of him anymore. A lot of that has to do with Joss Whedon, when he was the writer and director of the first two Marvel movies, and when they got rid of Joss, man, I didn't care for Infinity War. I didn't care about Endgame because I'm like, why the fuck he can just snap the fucking universe? Like it wasn't grounded in any emotion for me. But the first two Avengers, man, I skipped school. I was in 8th grade when the first Avengers came out. I skipped school with my mom, with my parents. We went to we went to go see it, packed fucking theater. To this day, I've never had a theater experience like that where people are cheering, people are just having fun, and it's like you said, genuinely a good movie. Genuinely, I love that shit. I loved it, but now it's just
the whole experience.
Yeah, it did, and I love that. I really did. I grew up with all that, but now it's just it's becoming like it's the equivalent of like just fast food. It's just like you can tell this isn't like someone's vision. This is a studio that needs to make money, and they can't risk any director coming in and saying, "Oh no, I had this bright idea." Like no, like We got 20 years of storytelling. Like you have to follow that now.
Okay.
And I do think audiences are starting to like really notice like that, you know, they're starting to demand a little bit more singular vision. I want to see like, I don't care about the next movie that comes after this. Give me something out of this one.
How do you
Give me
think
the
it's
most out of
gonna
this.
move? How do you think it's going to be?
Like
able
the
to
industry?
move? Yeah. Like in that positive
There
way.
has
How
to
do
be
you
some
think it
type of
happens?
balance.
Like how? Like, and how do you help?
That's a good question. I want to create as many, because I feel like a lot of they grab the hot shot that creates the craziest film at Sundance, and they're like, hey, come create this fucking $250 million movie for us, and if it's successful, you're the greatest director in town.
Thank
if
you,
it's
I am.
terrible, you'll never be fucking hired again. And like, you're just using those directors at that point. And I feel like the best thing to do when you're at that point is stop making studio films. Like, I have such a fucking like, I feel like there has to just be more of just like singular storytelling right now. I feel like people want to go have a single experience. They don't want to think about the next movie that comes out after this. It's becoming too investing, and like it's becoming too much of an investment of time and money. And I feel like the best way to pay forward is like, you can keep this original. I would love a Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I don't want every movie to look the same. I want the Spider-Man movie to look like a Spider-Man movie. I want the Thor movie to look like the Thor movie. Make them look different. Bring out, I wanted to see like there are actual people behind this having their vision heard. But when every movie looks the same, every movie has the same plot beats, it just ruins it, you know? And I feel like there's just this demand for more singular storytelling and vision.
I guess here's the thing. I think that like when we have these conversations a lot, we tend to talk about the movies that we see like that are like at the box office. But to be fair and to be honest, most of us don't watch those consistently. Like,
True.
there are so many networks, there are so many independent film and
Facts.
filmmakers that we are consistently watching.
Facts.
And I know I was in the car earlier and I was talking about like one of those films that like, hey, I was able to watch, and now that I'm sitting here at a screening of one of those films, I'm sitting up here with the writer and like the producer. Like, he wrote this film, and so like there are films that serve communities, and there's a whole
we did talk about that.
There's a whole like market of films and filmmakers who are servicing those type of communities. So when we think about movies, I tend to think of there's the studio films, but then there are like my communal films. There are people in movies that I see. I
Believe
know
it or
these
not,
actors. I know these filmmakers.
Those are the people keeping this
talk about
industry
it,
alive, man.
right?
Or at least keeping the art of it alive.
So I do think there needs to be perhaps maybe we should show more support for those
Agreed.
like filmmakers
Agreed.
and film, and
Agreed.
and maybe give more shine to those type of voices. I know there are so many networks right now. You can look at my phone and you'll see I got like a couple subscriptions to different films, with like channels, so to speak. You know, it's not like the HBO Max, it's not like the Netflix, it's like different independent films, studios. And I think we really have to like pay more attention to like those type of films, and I think they're giving us what we want. I just think sometimes we're not paying attention to them and giving them, and I think that's where we get our start as well, right? I think we get our start from those small startups, right?
Exactly.
And that's those are the people going to watch our films. Those are the communities that we serve with our
There's
filmmaking.
been kind of like this, because if you kind of notice, they're either dropping like small budget movies are pretty much going to theaters. Big budget movies that's supposed to make ton of money are going to theaters. But like the movies that's in between, those are the ones that's kind of going to streaming and stuff. The ones they're not like, this is medium sized budget, you know what I mean? Those are the movies that's been going to kind of streaming. I think the theaters have been left for like the events.
The movies that I keep hearing people talk about are the ones that like are not the big ones.
Yeah.
What is it? Triangle of Sadness, Everything Over All at Once, all these independent ones. And it's because like they're original. And
Everything
something
at
new.
Once was
Skinnamarink.
What?
Everything at Once was independent.
Yeah, or
It was A24.
A24.
But as far as like smaller,
Yeah.
what I mean is like big budget,
derivative
ideas.
Everything everywhere was completely original.
Yeah. So like
the box office splash that made was pretty like extraordinary.
Oh, that movie did great.
Yeah.
But when you asked earlier, it's like how can we help? You know, it's like I think the only way it's like I don't know how the fuck I can help, but it's like the only way I'm gonna find out is if I dip my toes in the water. And put a little something out there, and we'll figure it out.
I do agree with you. Like, there's been a lot of talk, like, just so much more about the smaller movies. Like, especially, I don't know if that also has to do with like
substance to them, dude.
Yeah,
you know, it's
I agree.
We're
like
taking chances with that shit.
Skinamarink. People went to go see that horror movie that looks like it was shot on a camcorder.
I didn't see. I heard
I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it was really good, and it made a fucking splash at the box office.
Yeah, with the name Skinamarink.
Exactly.
You know, it's like,
just because it's original, it was horror, and it looked like something people have never seen. People like there is like this craving for like, okay, what's out right now?
So take a chance on that shit.
Exactly.
It's like realistically, if somebody pitches you, it's like I got this horror movie. It's called Skinamarink.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
How many big big producers gonna be like, oh no, that I can make money off.
Yeah.
That. You know, it's like somebody's like, oh no, this they looked into it and like, there's. I haven't seen this, so I could be talking totally out of my ass.
Yeah.
But like, there was something in there that's like, this is different. This is cool. This is something that I would like to make more than just the money.
Exactly.
It's like, this is a piece that I kind of want to put out there because I want to see it. Mm-hmm. Not because I want to make a fucking dollar off.
Yeah. And I know this is the industry has to make its money, to make its money.
It's a business, but.
Yeah, but there has to be room for those movies. And there has to be room for both. Because, of course, I want my big spectacles and all that. But it has to definitely... People don't realize, like, those spectacles are standing on the shoulders of the people making these smaller films and, you know, these smaller narratives and these personal character dramas. Like, I feel like... And they don't always have to be like they can be smaller and they can still be spectacles. They can still be, you know, thrilling. You know? Yeah. Just because it's a 70 fucking what did Jordan Peele make Nope off of? Like Nope had half the budget most of these fucking movies have. And like still thrilling, still beautiful in IMAX, you know, still made a ton of money back. And it's just like to me in my head, honestly, where's the money going? Because so many of these big movies, they're so expensive, but they don't even look good. They don't feel good, you know? So I'm like, where is the money actually going where a $50 million movie looks fucking beautiful and it's so well acted and I fucking love it, you know, and it really took me somewhere. Like that's a good question. Yeah, it's like, where's the money really going? It's just like, and like to be in LA where homelessness is this fucking crazy. We're spending we're spending fucking $250, $300 million on like.
Yeah, so we can watch shit blow up.
Exactly,
for 2 hours,
exactly. To watch fucking shit blow up, like there has to be a certain line drawn in like making shit that actually matters, you know, and with the other shit. Not that I don't love the other shit, I do, but shit has to actually matter, you know.
There's got to be a balance to it.
Has to be a way more balanced than it is right now.
It's so self-indulgent.
It is.
You know,
it is.
It's just,
it is.
Its purpose is undo itself.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna make this and blow shit up.
And luckily,
give me a lot of money. And
horror is thriving. Horror is thriving with the originality. It's thriving with the box office. People love horror. You know, everyone goes on a date to go see a horror movie. You know, so horror is really honestly keeping this alive too. But yes, it definitely has to be a balance.
Because a good horror strikes something within people. You know, it's like it obviously taps if something
even
on the screen, when you know it's, you know, logically you know what you're seeing is fake, and it still taps into something. This scares the shit out of me. Yeah.
That does something.
That means that there is something, you know, primal in that.
Yeah.
There's something that touches the human spirit, or whatever you want to say.
Exactly.
You know? Like that's why horror people keep coming back to that shit, because a good horror movie, there's nothing like it. There just isn't.
I agree.
You're not gonna get that from any other thing.
I agree.
It's a visceral experience where of fear and like safe fear watching it, but it taps into something that
it does.
What,
it does.
You know, you know, you're just watching a screen.
Yeah.
You're not in danger or anything.
Yeah.
But let alone it can fill you with nightmares for and people. There's an excitement to it. There's something that keeps drawing people back.
Yeah. No, horror is definitely thriving. It's in a really good place. Like we just got the 6 Scream movie. People love it. It's good. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's
I haven't seen
the OGs are still the OGs are still the best, but you know, it was I liked Smile that came out last year. I thought that was a pretty pleasant surprise. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. You know what I mean? There was one other horror movie. Can't think of it though that I saw, but it just surprised me too. It was really good.
It was about the doll Megan.
Megan, yeah. Megan was okay.
That's what I was
Megan was
of.
okay.
I couldn't think of the name either.
Yeah, you know, it wasn't always scary, and when it wasn't scary, it was funny. You know, but like that's a good theater experience. I feel like for people. People also kind of like even if the movie isn't that good, if you give people a good theater experience, you know, people are laughing, people are jumping at the same scenes, you know, that adds into like whether I enjoyed it or not, you know. Yeah. And I feel horror definitely.
No, the thing that we miss out with the streaming stuff is the communal experience of being with other people watching this, and there's a different energy to it.
You know? When it's genuine. Yeah. And I feel like a lot with the rise of streaming so much, if you know, like, oh, that movie's not about to be on streaming, I should go to the theaters now. But a lot of these movies, like, at least the big budget ones, if they aren't doing good, they take them off. They take them out of theaters. They go right to stream. Yeah. Dude, it's fucking crazy. Movies used to be in theaters so long. And, like, as soon as they lose legs, it's like, take it out. We're not take it out. And they're barely making money off, you know, DVDs and stuff like that. It's just not as popular anymore. At least studios could at least risk like, okay, it didn't do that good, but we got DVDs. People used to wait for the DVD. Like, I'm not gonna check it out.
I remember like waiting. What movie was it? I mean, I remember as a kid like a year. Yeah. Just looking forward to being able to see that movie again. You know.
Same.
And then having it just is.
Yeah. But now that you know it's coming on streaming,
you do it whenever.
You don't even bother. Like that's gonna be on streaming in 2 months. Okay. You know, I'm not even gonna bother.
We gonna pause for a second.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, no problem, bro.
I don't know.
You know what? We can go and finish. If we can do one question, we'll be done. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. We're gonna let this just happen. We'll probably let this out.
Oh, you are good. But yeah.
So he's taking a quick. But you know what? People don't know that listening. But I do have a question for you though.
Oh yeah.
So one of the things that I know I may be kind of hesitant. I become a little hesitant sometimes when I think about our employment opportunities with different studios. So it's
think about it all the time.
Right? Yeah. So it's
scary, man. We're black filmmakers. We're black filmmakers. We got to be honest about it.
Right. So like, what is so when we have like an opinion against, like with the studios, how do we then come in and want to make changes or help with the direction in any type of way? So I'm always thinking of if there's something that I don't necessarily 1000% love about it, like what is it that I can do to help influence a change or bring about some type of turn?
One of the key things I've been learning are just, you know, not just like with that, but just collaborating in general. Is like really you have to have the story, best intentions. You know, I have the story's best intentions. I have the best intentions for the film in general. I have the best intentions for making it successful. And when you're collaborating with people, I've noticed I get so much like not headbutts, but like you spit out something and they're like, well, no, this and that and this, and like you would be amazed at like how strong that actually makes you. Like, because we were just talking yesterday, like if you're in a room full of yes men, you're in the wrong room. Everyone's in the room telling you, oh, that's the great idea, that's a brilliant idea, you're in the wrong room. You have somebody that challenges what you're saying, and if you can convince somebody what you're saying is actually, you know, smart and creative, you know, if you can prove that, you know, and if you could actually, that's really what it is. You have to be in a room, because this is filmmaking. You have to, if you're not ready to fight for your fucking vision, to stop. Because people go eat you apart. They go use you. And I'm not saying this as some dude with fucking decades of experience. I'm saying this as a dude trying to come up in this shit. People will fucking talk to you like you not shit, you know. They go tear your story apart. They go act like you don't know what the fuck you talking about. But it's also like, fight for that, man. Fight. And then when it's successful, which is the only way, unfortunately, in this business, you could probably really prove somebody wrong. That's like, you know, that's the only way. But you still, regardless, stand on your vision. And if somebody's like fighting it, you don't fight them. You know what I mean? You build it. I build the best story. Somebody could really say something to you and you're like, oh, I didn't think about that. Or like, I should really consider that. But also somebody could say something where, you know, I don't agree with that. You know, I don't think that. But as long as you're able to speak, as long as you know your story, know your vision, you're willing to fight for it, and I feel like you're good, man. It's like, it's all about taking risks. This whole industry is a risk. It's always a risk. You don't know if someone's going to love your script, your story, your vision. A lot of people don't. You don't know if it's going to make money. You don't know if people are going to watch it. But as you stood on your vision, you gave it all you got. And that's the only thing I can literally like suggest is fight for your vision. Fight to be heard. Fight for your voice to be heard, you know, and become that. Prove them once. You got. Give me one opportunity. Give me one chance to do it. You know, that's all I need. That's the mentality I keep. I need one shot, one bullet. I need one shot. And that's the mentality I try to keep, because this is when you get these opportunities, you quickly learn you cannot blow them, you cannot waste them, you cannot let it slip. So when you get it, you give it all you fucking got, you know, and you fight for your vision. I'm still fighting for my visions. Like, I have professors who are reading my script, and I let them read a draft of my script. Like I said, like, one of the professors was very confused on it. And I was like, well, you know, had to really explain, you know, I really had to tell. And I took her criticism and I went and created a better draft. But I also was like, my story was there, but like, I just got to learn. I had to know how to tell it, and I had to know what was going on. So if you know the ins and outs, you know, you live and breathe these characters, these stories, your vision, you know, no one knows it better than you at that point. That's how I feel about it. You got to be the draw, you know, in this industry. They got to come. You have to have the ideas, you know, in this industry. They're not going to come just knocking on your door asking, hey, we got a script? No, you got to show them. You know, create something. Go create some art that changes the fucking, you know, world. Changes you. Every project I've created have changed me. I'm always like different, because I've realized I come through realizations creating scripts and creating projects. Like, it's always a journey for the creator too. So go along with that process. Be willing to change. Be willing to be the strongest person out of that. You know, you got to really just stand on your vision and fight for it.
I like that.
Okay.
I like that.
Walk back into some fire.
Yeah.
I went to pee.
Oh, absolutely. But you're back now.
I am.
Bruh.
Back. So,
And that's back.
yes.
It's been a second. Yeah.
There we go.
We back.
So we wanted to get to answer at least one of these questions. Then we're gonna hop off.
Okay.
We get one of those questions. I send a whole deck. Y'all
okay.
y'all don't even be caring.
And we just went off on
I cared not to
tangents.
show up.
Oh yeah, like your
Whichever ones we don't
predecessors.
go to, we just reuse.
If you want to,
Okay,
1 second.
you got it.
Ooh.
Should be on text message.
No, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm just
Okay.
deciding which one.
Deciding.
Yeah, they're
I'm
tough questions.
Right. So we do a lot of discussions where, you know, we stay here at the level, meaning like our comments can be applied to a lot of things. But, you know, eventually we have to get to the point where we're asking and answering like some very specific and personalized questions.
Yeah. What do you think about the editing one?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. So, just so I'm perfectly clear on the question, let's read it out loud for the audience. What is your approach to editing, and how do you balance the director's vision with your own creative instincts?
I'll answer. Editing is not fun for me. It used to be.
It can be very
It's not fun for me during it. The process of it, seeing your film come together, is definitely the most fun. But like when you're the actual editor, I can't imagine it being that fun. But I feel like, well, it's always the rough cut. You know, you do the rough cut. You lay all the footage down. You know, you don't really even make cuts. You follow the script. Simple over the shoulder. You get the simple shots. But then when you go over it, that second cut, when you really start to see like, all right, let's create a pace. Let's create a tempo. You know, I feel like you should definitely, because we were talking about this one day. As a director, man, you've seen this footage. You've read this script so many times. It's like, it's not new to you. So when you get fresh eyes, when you get your editor to really like sit down, look at this with those fresh eyes and like almost as an audience eyes, I feel like you should really listen, take into consideration. Of course, as a director, you know, you're going to make choices. You're going to have choices that you want, or you're going to have like, you know, things that you want done. But also like that whole process of creating, like you should definitely trust the eyes. Trust those eyes of your editor. Trust that feeling of the editor, you know. And if you're a good director, they'll be using your best takes, your circle takes. They'll be using all that anyway. But it's also finding, all right, should I get a push in right here? Should I cut close? You know, like a good editor will know like when to make it dramatic, you know, and when to make it, you know, real. And I feel like you should definitely always trust those eyes, trust those fresh eyes, and trust your vision too. And really, like you said, it's collaborating, you know. Have to be able to really express ideas and take them. Not only like give them, you have to always
be flexible.
Yeah, you got to be able to take them. You got
the point
to
of editing is you can edit it.
Exactly.
You know? So it's like
exactly.
You're not stuck.
Exactly. And you know, you ever see like there's always like a director's cut or like a extended cut. You know, some directors don't always have the luxury of getting their final cut, but some directors are also very indulgent and like, oh, this doesn't need to be that long. Well, why not? It's a beautiful shot. You know, like some directors are like
I'm bored as shit.
Yeah. So some editors are like, you never want something on screen more than like, once the audience knows what's happening, cut to the next shot. That's like the rule I learned. So you never want to just stay on the shot way too long. So like, you know, trust what your editor is trying to do, not just for you as the director and your piece of art, but also like for the experience of everybody who's going to sit down and watch that.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I think you said there's a balance, right? Like I know it can be very difficult. I know I've definitely had like some scenes and like that definitely go on long. I know it may even be too long, but it's just gonna have to be too long. I get it. It's just gonna have to be that way. And it was like, yeah, you can cut it off. It was like, I could. You so right.
Fuck you.
I'm just you know, I'm just gonna have to be wrong on this one. Like this is my film. I get it, but I need you to feel this. You're gonna feel something, one way or the other.
I would also encourage, I
totally understand. But you're right. Like the editing could definitely, you could definitely use some pointers by listening to the editor.
Definitely, and also like help your editor and get like all the shots. You know, like complete the take, get enough shots so you know don't just like. I think we talked about this a little bit last week too, but like you know, help your director or help your editor in that suite. Always keep them in mind when you're making the movie too, because you might think when you're shooting like, oh, I got it, good, let's go. When you go and edit it, you're gonna be like, oh man, I needed one more angle.
A good director is gonna be
every
meticulous
time
about that shit.
Yeah.
Which is why you need those storyboards and that shot list.
Yeah.
So there's two things that I've worked on in film school where I distinctly remember because I had to edit them, right? Where one of them was, I was actually acting in this thing, and it was a horror short that somebody shot here, and there was the scene where I get essentially scared. It's the jump scare scene, right?
Do we have a scream?
Oh no! Wait a minute. Do I have? No, no, no screen.
No screen. Yeah, that's actually my screen. And here's the problem. He forgot to film the monster scaring me.
Wow.
He forgot. So I had to figure out a way to edit me getting scared by nothing. Where like I walk into a room, and then the next shot I had was like me scared. Right? It just cuts back to, so it's like as in, how the hell am I supposed to script it? So like I did this whole like weird dream sequence that didn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
But like you had to do something. So it's like you got to be meticulous with that shit. And there was another one where the director I think she had 16 shots in total. And there were no angles you could use for half the sound was terrible and all that stuff. It's like, as a director, like if you want your story to be told, right, you got to give the person that's going to mold it for you something to work with.
Definitely.
You can't say, oh, this looks good, and stop. If it's a good scene, you want it to look at it from different ways, because they're going to see something you didn't know was there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Always.
You got to make it interesting. So it's like it's like, there's just things that I've edited where it's like okay, so this one scene is just one long shot where the actors are just like kind of tucked away in a corner for a little bit, and they walk back, and it's like, and that this is the only shot. It's like, oh yeah, I didn't really think. What do you mean you didn't think about that?
Yeah.
You didn't think about like that. This is just gonna look terrible. Come on, dude. And it's like that's not the shit, man. But it's like
It's infuriating.
When you're trying to edit something, you're trying to make it good. Sometimes it's hard to mold something that is just, you gotta have something to work with. That's the best thing I can say.
You gotta have something to work
and
with.
that's but you know, when you get something good and you want to match the director's vision or whatnot, I actually like editing.
Yeah.
I do. I think, but I hate the programs.
Yeah. Oh
But
man.
when you kind of get in the swing of it, and you start,
It's like a dictionary of shortcuts you got to learn.
Exactly. But once you actually kind of start to put it together and like you see, oh, I can cut it this way, and like that works and everything. It becomes a little game. It's fun.
It is.
And it's you want to tell the story as concisely and as straight. I don't want to say straight. How do I put this? You just want to have it flow. Right?
Yeah.
And when you edit it, you want it to not only make sense, but when you're doing it, there's a sense that's like, oh, that's kind of sick how I did it. You're not, if you edit something, you're like, this fucking sucks.
That's the worst feeling.
That's it. You know,
the worst feeling.
But once you just kind of start putting, it's like a puzzle. You're putting
Yeah.
with all these different shots and stuff, and how you cut them out, and what sounds you want to accentuate, and
Yeah.
music and all that stuff. And like, I mean, to give, I think that the first step, as someone who is as amateur an editor as I am, is you got to have fun with it. At least try and make a game
I
of
agree.
it, and to at least give the director what, because you're just sitting there and you're like, this sucks. Even if it sucks, just be like, oh well, I can make it. Give me something, you know. Just like, I'll put this together and like, oh, that looks funny as it is. It's a B movie, but whatever. Like oh, this is entertaining. At least, you know, get something out of it.
Yeah.
I think
First step. I don't know if that made any sense, but
No, I agree.
No, I get you. I totally agree with you as well. I think that is the toughest part about film school. If toughest, is that a word? I think the hardest part of film school is editing, because something is going to be in the rearview mirror. Like there are many things up front. Like
no, you're never gonna get
directing, cinematography, history.
Had those problems.
I'm telling you, editing gets put in the rear view because it's post, because we're learning. We have to know how to plan. We have to be great at getting a storyboard, like a lookbook as we talk about it. We have to understand how to get that shot list and how to get all of the sets the way that we want. We have to understand how to get those lightings, like of the feel light. We have to invest so much time in like getting accustomed to like running the camera and operating, getting that focus, to the point where the last thing, which is post-production, we're just not that stellar at.
Yeah.
I have yet to see any of my film colleagues. None of us are great at editing. Like, we're okay.
We're all learning.
It really is like, we're all still learning.
I'm okay at it. I think if
I'm all right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say I'm a great editor, but like I've been
feel
happy
like
with something
being
that I
like
didn't think
my
was
worst critic. I'm always just super critical, but like I'm always like surprised, like I'm like, oh, that was really good. I'm like, really? Like, you didn't see that was cut? Like, you can't tell? Like, like, so it's really tricky. Like, it's very surgical. And, like, one of the things I thought, like, that's always in the back of my mind, like, least is continuity. Because you don't really, like, even I've noticed, like, you don't really, it's the small details you care about, but it's like, it's the performance really, like, that you search for.
That's the first and foremost. But
yeah,
you can get away with small things.
Yeah,
right?
Small
like,
thing, not
like
very.
Glaring,
Mistake, big, like obvious shit. Like but like when you really search for the performance and you like build around that. All right, he gave a great performance in this take. I need to bounce off that, build around that. Like it does, like you said, it becomes very fun. Like seeing it come together, and then like, oh wait a minute, I can add sound right there, or I can add something right there, or I should cut it right there. Like right when he looks up, I can just cut right there. It can be fun, but I'll always need like a collaborator. I can't imagine like.
Oh yeah, I mean that's like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Is that like I can't do this shit alone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like oh yeah, no, I can do this. I can't do
Yeah.
this. It's like I got things that I can contribute and like I can be a big piece of it.
But as crazy as it sounds,
it's
my favorite part of like the process. Like pre-production is like you get the nerves and the jitters going, you excited. Filming is like, what the fuck is going on? This is nothing like I imagined. But then you go back in the editing suite and you're like, okay, hold on. Maybe I actually did my job, Maybe I actually did what I was supposed to on set. I didn't fucking waste all the money and every shot. But once you really, it's definitely like when you start to see it together, you start to calm down a bit. You be like, okay, it's coming together. If your edit is shit, it's not coming together, you need to rewrite it, then you got a lot to worry about.
I definitely love production day.
Yeah.
Like that's my favorite. Like I love being on set and like seeing the pieces come together. Yeah.
It is fun. Being on set is definitely fun. Filming is fun. I just feel like it's so stressful because it's like
once everything's set up, it's fun.
Yeah. That's really what it is. It's getting everything set up. Once the cameras are rolling, all right, cool. Once it's time, but when it's time to set up, you're communicating with your DP, but you got your actors waiting over there. You got to go talk to them. You got to make sure everything's set up like it's supposed to. It becomes a little bit. But it also comes down to the crew. You got a crew that's on top of everything. You got a good crew that's on top of everything. You don't need to worry about everyone's department. You're good. I've had crews close to that. Close. But I love my crews, man. Every filmmaking, every short film that I've created or been a part of, learning experience has been so much fun. Like I wouldn't want to be anywhere but on a movie set for the rest of my life. I have so much fun. And I don't take it for granted. I don't, definitely humble, definitely appreciative of all the people who've ever helped me, who I've helped. Thank you for allowing me, So
that's what's up.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank y'all. This was a good podcast. What y'all think?
Hey, we did what we could, man.
All right.
Just
another day at the office.
Best, that's all we can do,
Excellent.
Shout out to all the aspiring filmmakers, man. Keep going.
Oh yeah.
Pick up a camera.
You can do it.
Yeah. No, literally. Kubrick said it. Yeah. Kubrick said it, man. If it can be thought of, or if it can be written, go and film it. It can be filmed.
Okay. Gordon, you want to take us out?
Thank you again for joining us for this past.
I love the radio voice.
Oh yeah, no, you gotta lean into it. This is Brothers in Film, and on behalf of myself, Gordon Zacks,
Parnell, Robertson,
Nathan J. Lee.
Thank you for listening to us, and we hope you come back next week.
All right.